It's a very busy week for British politicians and the Prime Minister Boris Johnson. And it's also been a very busy week for our own Julian Olayinka, who's left to us from our London studios right now, chasing the Brexit deadline, the deals and the no deals. So let's get Juliana to talk to us where are we at the moment as far as this delivery date is concerned for Brexit. Juliana, you have the package is heading to Brussels. We have a new delivery date. Any idea what is in the package this time around?
Well, good morning, Bosun. One thing we're certain of is that the PM, the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, he's do or die October the 31st Brexit pledge is dead. And Brexit remains the gift that keeps on giving that nobody really in the UK wants. The EU did grant an extension to January the 31st, and Boris Johnson has accepted that extension, which was a legal requirement. But part of that legality does state that if indeed he can get a deal through Parliament before that time, we can leave before then, which is one of the reasons why the Prime Minister is so keen to have an election, because at the moment he has a minority and the opposition are trying to push through some amendments to the withdrawal bill, which include potentially a second referendum and keeping the United Kingdom in the customs union. But because they're not sure of that, he lost a vote to have a December the 12th election yesterday. But he does appear to have been given a lifeline by some smaller opposition parties, the Scottish National Party, the Liberal Democrats. They have agreed to grant Boris Johnson a general election by passing through a bill. It's a little bit complicated, but there will be a bill today that goes through Parliament suggesting that the government do not need a two-thirds majority. They need a simple majority. And with the backing of the SNP and the Liberal Democrats, he will get that majority today. And we are expected to be going to the polls before Christmas time.
That will be very fantastic if you ask me, Juliana. Can we just get this Brexit done for 2019? Then we'll go for what you can call a blue ocean, as it were, on January the 1st. And everyone, all of you folks, everyone can say Happy New Year, whatever the word will go from here. That would just be fantastic. But again, I'm sure the business community have their own concerns as we speak. So what is the Council on Business in the UK saying about this Brexit? What are they telling the politicians, the urgency and how this entire Brexit crisis is affecting the business community in the UK?
Well, the never-ending Brexit saga is a mess for businesses. You know, they've been waiting 3.5 years for the politicians to sort out exactly what is going on. And there was a sense of optimism once Boris Johnson's withdrawal deal passed that second reading. But now he's taken his deal off the table until he gets a general election. It's just caused that anxiety once again over the past 3 years. We've seen the pound slump. We've also seen so much anxiety around the markets. And of course, in Q2, for the first time in 7 years, we saw the economy contract. So at the moment, not just with Brexit, but the entire political uncertainty and the fact that the Conservatives are running a minority government, we have seen proof that there is less investment coming into the UK and more CEOs, especially the FTSE 100 CEOs, they are not hiring. They're not spending as much within their businesses. So although there have been one or two big names, pro-Brexit business leaders that are trying to back Brexit, the uncertainty alone is really paralysing the markets. And some are even suggesting that even if we left with a no deal and there was a shock to the British economy in the short term, at least these CEOs and businesses would know just how to navigate. But at the moment, you know, everybody is just in this wait and see game. And the people who lose out are the business leaders.
The latest numbers from British Petroleum, I'm not sure it has anything to do with Brexit really, but this is the UK energy giant swinging into a loss in Q3. You have any more of these details for us to share with us?
Well, yeah, the BP, you know, as you said, the energy titan, they released their Q3 results, and shareholders aren't impressed. As soon as they released them, early trading, BP was down 1%. They have a loss of £269 million in Q3. And in comparison to the 3 months into September last year, they were up £2.37 billion. So it's a massive difference. They have said that they warned their investors it would be pretty difficult for them. One being the fact that oil is cheap at the moment. Right now, a barrel of Brent crude oil in Q3 is running at about $62. In Q2, it was running at about $69. And in Q3 last year, it was running at about $75. So there's a massive disparity there. Also, as well, there were massive hurricanes this season, and that appeared to affect some of their distribution in the Gulf of Mexico. And there was an accounting charge that they had during their business in Alaska. So it hasn't been great, but just a 1% loss with shareholders does mean that there is still, you know, some excitement about this big oil titan.
Yeah, BP is still, as I said, a titan or an oil giant, whichever way you look at it. Okay, thank you so much, Juliana. It's good to share your thoughts and your views. Some of these stories making the headlines at home and around the world. Thank you so much for coming through on the show.
Thank you.